Welcome to another The Numbers Game. I'm your host for today, Don, and in today's episode we'll be going through all the monsters and each 4 unlockable costumes for them in the PS2 classic War of the Monsters. I've really enjoyed putting this list together because this game is just filled with Easter eggs, references and inspiration from classic monster movies. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Our first monster is Konga, and it's War of the Monsters King Kong, and it's probably the first monster that you'll be introduced to due to him being a very well-rounded character and one of the easiest to start playing with. In the game, he is a mutated super gorilla and has powerful attacks and a sonic roar as his super. His first default skin is his standard brown fur form. His second skin, named Silver Yeti, has much lighter fur and glowing blue eyes. His third costume is named Mecha Konga and depicts the gorilla with mechanical limbs and red eyes. This skin is likely to have been inspired by Mechani Kong from the 1967 film King Kong Escapes. His fourth and final skin, which is my favourite for Konga, is called Ice Konga, and it depicts him as Hydros, who is the Ice Titan from Disney's Hercules. Next up is Guerra, and he's the large dinosaur-looking, Godzilla-inspired monster, awakened by a nuclear bomb and out to cause destruction. Guerra in this game is very Godzilla-like, having the atomic breath of its special, and even sounding a lot like the great creature. However, it features more bony spikes protruding from its body, and is a bit more like a prehistoric dinosaur. Its first skin has it with green scales, and its second replaces them with purple scales. Its third costume, which is my favourite for this guy, is called Mecha Guerra and has him depicted as a large robot dinosaur likely to have been inspired by Mecha Godzilla. Its fourth and final skin is Demon Guerra, which gives him devilish horns and fiery orange skin. Next up, Ultra 5 is your traditional giant anime robot with heavy inspiration from Mazinger Z. He uses very sci-fi abilities such as ranged laser weaponry and a laser katana for his super. He also has some cool poses he makes when he jumps and a very nice looking jetpack. His first skin is his classic red, blue and gold armour, whereas his second skin replaces it with a silver and blue armour. His third skin resembles Getter 1 from the Getter Robo series. And last but certainly not least, my favourite skin for Ultra 5 is his fourth, which is a female version and features redesigned wings. Next is Robo 47, a defunct military robot that was originally designed to take on the monsters and protect Earth. It features a plethora of various weaponry from mallets, claws, machine guns and even a nuke which it can launch as its special attack. Robo 47 looks to be heavily inspired by the giant robot in 1996's Tim Burton sci-fi film Mars Attacks. Its first skin is very grey and military issue. The second skin features a blue tint and is named Robo 48, whereas the third skin has a red tint and is named Robo 49. The fourth and final skin, and my favourite of the four, is a more retro black and white inspired chrome robot. Next is Prater, which is this huge mutated mantis. Her attacks use her claws and Super has her spit what looks like a leech at her opponent. Prater is clearly inspired by classic sci-fi horror films that used real bugs or models and enlarged them so they looked like giants, like the 1957 film The Deadly Mantis. Praetor's first skin is a standard green mantis form, likely inspired by Godzilla's Kamacuras kaiju. The second skin is a fiery red and more resembles ants, likely inspired by 1954's Them. The third skin goes the robot route once again with a mecha Praetor, which could actually be a reference to the robot mantis from the DuckTales TV show. And the final skin resembles a giant bee. Next is Kinetic Lump, and he's a giant eye creature, likely an homage to 1958's The Crawling Eye. However, Kinetic Lump is enclosed within a body of pure electricity, making him look more like a Scooby-Doo villain. His attacks involve his use of using electricity and shooting it as his special. He's a very fast and agile character, and his first default skin has blue electricity, whereas his second skin has green electricity and his third has black, with his eye becoming blue. His fourth and final skin drops the electricity in exchange for a skin that is amphibious and closely resembles the creature from the Black Lagoon monster. However, his attacks still retain the electric bolts. Agamo next is the large stone golem inspired by the idols found in Central America and the South Pacific. However, another influence for the character could have been 1966's Daimajin. Agamo is a very brutish character and is all about dealing a lot of damage. His special has him increase the size of his fist and go absolutely mad with it. His first default skin has a very standard grey rock finish. His second skin has him covered in this green moss, whereas his third skin has him with red and gold finishes on his body. His final skin, and one of my favourites out of the whole game, is Sweet Tooth, the ice cream truck from the Twisted Metal games, and he looks excellent in this game with his fiery head and big spiked boulder as his hand. Next up is Magma. Magma is the largest playable monster in the game and is a living volcano. This monster has 4 arms and his moves revolve around his use of flinging flaming balls of molten rock. Personally, Magma is probably my least favourite monster in the game because he feels very uninspired and generic, and the creature isn't a reference to any classic movie monsters like the rest of them. He's just there. His first default skin has the molten rock look, and his second has him much more red. His third, titled Furnace, has him looking like a steampunk giant with 4 large claws. And finally, his fourth skin is very similar to his second, except he has some fire effects. Raptros is the War of the Monsters dragon-looking creature, having wings, the ability to fly. His special has him breathing flames like the mythological dragons, and his animations and posture make him very raptor-like. Raptros' default skin has him with red scales, whereas his second has his scales purple and his wings green. And finally his third skin has his scales green and his wings gold. Now his fourth skin, and my favourite for this character, is a skeletal form, which looks very cool indeed with these tattered wings. And finally, the 10th playable monster in the game is Zouri, the alien supposedly behind the whole invasion. Zouri is very much inspired by classic alien movies, the Metalunar mutants from 1953's The Island Earth in particular. Personally, I'm not too crazy about this character. He uses his laser gun within his moves and taunts. His first skin has him in a green suit, and his second has him in a blue suit, and his third skin has him in a yellow suit, and his eye colour changes to green. His fourth and final skin changes his entirely body into a squid looking creature, which could actually be a reference to Guerra, the giant squid monster. And so they were all the monsters and unlockable costumes in the underappreciated hit War of the Monsters. Which one is your favourite to play as? Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked this video then click that thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more The Numbers Game. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.